Hey everybody, and welcome to this episode of Mixed Martial Analysis. I just woke up and had to cut the intro for this. I did a podcast with Tanner last night, and I'm going to be rolling one out today as well for the fight card this weekend on ESPN Plus. Um, anyway, yeah, we had Tanner. I had Tanner Hall on last night, good buddy of mine. He's purple belt at Stout Training in Pittsburgh, and recently transitioned into teaching. I think he's teaching some kids program, and he said he's teaching some adult classes as well. But his whole story about how he got into jiu-jitsu is, extremely, it's inspiring. I mean, he's lost over 100 pounds on it. Now he's been doing it for 5 years. And one of the things that we get into on the podcast that I think is important for people is when you're going throughout, when you're going on the new year just happened too, right? So people are always looking for these new fitness journeys, and they're like, new year, new me. I'm going to do this, and that. And then they set these short-term goals for themselves, and they always set themselves up for failure. And one of the great things about jiu-jitsu is that it becomes a lifestyle. I mean, it becomes something that you do every day, even any kind of martial art, really. And there are other things that you can find in your life that are like this. But, I mean, jiu-jitsu provides you with a sense of community. It keeps you learning. And the best thing about it, I think, is that as you move throughout your jiu-jitsu journey, there's obvious evidence that you're progressing, which I think can be hard to sit back and analyze in real life because you get caught up in the same job, doing the same thing, doing the same routine over and over again, right? And, I mean, yes, you get better at your job, but I mean, the strides that you make in jiu-jitsu, like when a new person walks into the gym, you're directly competing with them and you get to see all these dividends. You know what I mean? You get paid back for everything that you put into the sport. So we got into that a little bit. A little bit choppy on I thought Tanner did a fucking great job. He kept the conversation flowing really well, but whenever I'm doing these on my own and I'm doing a breakdown, it comes so much more naturally because I have a script and there's no input coming from anyone else. But when I'll talk to someone, I'll interview them, right? And I'll ask them a question, and then they come back with an answer. And I'll have like 10 things buzzing around in my head that I want to say. So I'll end up saying one thing, but I meant to say another thing. And then, so there's a little bit of that going on. So obviously some fucking kinks that I have to work out with stuff like this, especially if I'm going to be talking to anyone, right? But yeah, Tanner did a fucking great job. It went pretty smooth, and I hope you guys enjoy. All right, man. So we were talking a little bit ago. You said you're going to Nepal?
Yeah, going to Nepal for 4 weeks in April.
Damn.
Yeah, it's I was telling you, I've never been outside the country. I've never taken like a solo trip or anything like that. So I'm just diving in.
Yeah, are you nervous?
I'm not nervous yet. I think I will. I think I'll get more anxious than nervous, but I'm just like looking forward to it. Like every day, searching new things in Nepal, what to do, what to eat, what not to eat.
Yeah.
You
Yeah, that's probably more important to stay away from, right?
Yeah. Don't drink water. That's that type of stuff.
Yeah. And you said there's a gym there that you were checking out, right?
Yeah, Rage Fitness it's in I think it's in Kathmandu or around there. It's an MMA gym, and they got jiu-jitsu, I think a couple times a week. So that's a cool thing. Like
yeah, you get to not only be in Nepal, but get to do what you love while you're there.
Yeah. And like you can attribute it to like another language, right? Like another that we speak that we can connect. So it's
because like once you step onto the mats and start rolling, like that language barrier is completely gone. You know what I mean? It's like so. I mean, everyone's
pumped for it.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. So what prompted you to do this?
So I was, you know the app Acorns?
Yeah, that like investment app, and it'll stash away your spare dollars or whatever, or your spare change.
Exactly. So you pay 49 cents for an item. It charges you $1 and then invest the 51 cents,
Right.
So I've been doing this Stash app or the Acorns app for like a year and a half now, and then contributing to it. So I got this travel fund that
oh fuck
And so, yeah, so I was like, I was gonna go on a vacation, right?
Right.
Like, go do something. I don't know. Go hang out on the beach.
Right.
But so it's funny. Like, it's funny how much of my life takes me back to jiu-jitsu. So I was talking to this one of my dear friends at the gym, Alec, and he was like, "Man, I was at the exact same point in time in life as you are right now. Like, go travel, go see the world, go do something." So I was like, "Okay, that's kind of cool," and just like allow me to get a different perspective on life. So instead of going on a vacation, um, doing something like I totally wouldn't.
Yeah, yeah,
You know?
like going and living there for a month. I mean,
Yeah,
you're going to be completely immersed in the culture and everything there. It's going to
yeah,
be completely different.
dude, I'm so excited, and it's like a real peaceful culture too. They said, if you're walking down neighborhoods, don't be alarmed if some families pull you into dinner and like have dinner.
Yeah, yeah, that's right, which
So,
would never happen here, especially like
oh man, not at all.
no, yeah, it's weird that I think it's good for you too to just like take a break like that. You know what I mean? Like life gets so monotonous and you can get so caught up in everything that just to go and, do something and for a whole month. I mean, you're going to have an extended period of time there.
Yeah, I got to learn some Nepalese.
Yeah,
I know namaste.
yeah,
That's
right. I think
cool.
that's about all I know as well.
Yeah,
How's
go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just gonna say, how's jiu-jitsu going, man? Like, you just got promoted to purple belt. Like, has it been a year? Close
Yeah,
to a year?
it's been just over a year, so a year and a
God
month.
damn.
2 months ago, man. It's been a wild ride. So I fought through a few injuries. I popped my rib in like I don't know April earlier this year, and then I tore my LCL in
Oh
August.
fuck! I knew about your rib injury, but I didn't know you tore your LCL as well.
Yeah, so the rib took me off of Fight to Win Pittsburgh, which really sucks, man. Because
Yeah,
I mean, that's exactly what they promote. It's a party. I mean,
yeah,
I was so I was so jealous that all my buddies got up to go and compete, and I was there fucking nursing a rib. But
yeah, and that's
it was
like it's a
their
big. It's Fight to Win's getting pretty big.
yeah, dude. And they just announced they're bringing judo back, which is cool.
Really?
Yeah, it'd be
Do you,
sick to see like Travis Stevens there.
oh yeah. Do you practice judo at all?
No, so the gym I started out in Connecticut, we had 2 judo black belts. So they would teach judo throws into submissions. I mean, judo.
Right.
Uh, but, it was definitely judo for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, yeah. That's my exposure to it's been more like we would have like a stand-up portion of every class when I was at Revolution in Richmond, and we would spend like 20 minutes on the feet, and there were a lot of judo concepts, but I never actually took a class. I probably should because, I mean, especially if you're in the gi, it's like directly applicable. You know what I mean? You can grab things and manipulate their weight and stuff while you're on the feet, and like if you're
Yeah,
going against a wrestler, maybe like toss them on their head before they fucking shoot a double on you or something.
yeah,
So
for sure. Um, when I think of judo, I think of this one video that I went down a fucking rabbit hole on YouTube one day.
that's easy enough to do.
Right. So this little girl, she was in Brazil. I mean, she was I don't know, late teens, early 20s. Couldn't have been 105 pounds. It was like out at a nightclub. It was outside, right outside the nightclub, and this guy was giving her problems, and she just fucking took him and hip tossed him and knocked him out.
Oh my God. You can't
Yeah.
fuck with people, dude. Like,
Right.
did you see that UFC fighter? She was like 115 pounds, that Polyana Viana. Someone tried to mug her and she whooped his ass. Like,
Whooped his ass. Yeah.
I try to explain to people, like, a lot of people, like, when they're watching stuff, I don't think they know what they're seeing. And, like, they'll see, like, a girl and they're like, I'll see stupid ass comments online and they're like, oh, well, if I rolled with her, like, I'd just crush her because I'm bigger than her. And I'm like, man, you have such a delusional perspective on what's going on here.
Such delusional. I mean, that's what got me into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, is the fact that like women who are like, I mean, just being completely honest, they're not as naturally blessed with the physical talents that men are.
Right.
But with
They don't have,
jiu-jitsu, it's like it's not just an equalizer; it can give them an advantage.
oh my gosh. I remember the first time I got tapped by or no, the first time I rolled with a girl. She was a purple belt at the time. Now she's a black belt and like doing big things.
Right.
Jessie Swanson. It was in Connecticut, and she'd been competing, you know, her entire jiu-jitsu career, still does. It was a slap bump, and I think I fought off an arm bar, and then she turned it into a triangle.
Yeah.
And they caught me in the same triangle, and I fought it off for like, I don't know, 3 minutes, and then she transitioned back to an arm bar, caught me. I was like, and I was a white belt at the time. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it doesn't.
It was the second most humbling experience besides being humbled into jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Because that's usually the first one. Because like, I think when people first start going into it, they have like an idea of what it's going to be like. Like you're going to be wrestling and like asserting your dominance over another guy, and like if you're more of a man and more like muscular, like you're going to win. And it's not the case. It's such like it's a complete shock when you start. It's like it almost feels overwhelming, like almost discouraging after your first class.
You feel like you're drowning.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
You absolutely feel like you're drowning. I mean, and you are.
Yeah, that's what's happening, right? Like you're being suffocated by someone who's like,
yeah.
and the crazy part is, if you don't know anything, it doesn't take a whole lot to be like in like a street fight scenario. Like a lot of people who, if they don't know anything at all, if you've got like a couple months of training under your belt, if you just know a few basic mechanics, it goes a long fucking way.
Fuck yeah, man! It's a long way.
Yeah, it's
if you can just take somebody down.
Yeah, and just hold them there. That's all you really have to do.
Yeah, put some shoulder pressure into them.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
Yeah. That's probably my least favorite position, is getting cross-faced, and you've just got a guy who's just like, he can just crank it in and like, fuck, man.
You got to bear it. You try to build frames and they don't
work.
Yeah,
nothing's working, and you're trying to like hip escape, and then your lungs are on fire, and you're trying to like scoot your ass back, and you've got no pop left in anything, and you realize like,
and he's just chilling on top.
Yeah,
you know,
there's nothing you can do. Like you're just gonna sit here and suffer and have to like, but that's part of it too, because like when you start and you get put into situations like that, you're gonna do one of two things: you're gonna quit, or you're gonna learn and try to get better. And if you stick with it, it's well worth it, right? Like, I mean, if you can just get past those growing pains, I guess they are, but
it has absolutely completely changed my life. I mean, I lost 100 pounds from it. Like
that's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You would never know you used to be 100 pounds heavier by looking at you.
Yeah. 100 pounds, man. Probably about 80 now, but
right. Yeah.
So the story was I was 100 or 282 pounds, and I was doing CrossFit at the time. And, this little, I'll back up a little bit. So the building that I was doing CrossFit in, the door on the right was CrossFit, the door on the left was jiu-jitsu. The sole owner of the jiu-jitsu side was, part owner of the CrossFit side. So he'd come over and teach classes, and he'd invite me over, hey, come roll sometime. And I was like, okay, yeah. He'd also have some of his students come over and teach. So I remember, little Matt Wheeler, he's 130 pounds soaking wet. He was a purple belt at the time, 5 foot nothing. He asked me to roll after a CrossFit class. And again, I was 282.
Right.
So my response was, well, yeah, I'll come roll, but I'm going to smash you.
Yeah. Like I'm good. Yeah.
Look at me and look at you.
Yeah. It just seems to make sense, right?
Yeah. Well, in my dumb mind.
Yeah.
Rob Magal's gym in Manchester, BJJ, got to shout him out. He's the guy that started it all for me and really changed my life and got me into jiu-jitsu. Now training under Warren Stout. My coach.
God damn, dude, you got he's tapped Damian Maya before, right?
maybe.
Yeah, dude. But you guys have that like you. I mean, you've got that wrestling background in your gym too, so you guys are like top heavy and smashing and like, you know what I mean, and passing guard and like it sucks to be on the receiving end of, but it's a great style.
Yeah, and it's funny how how it all relates. So I'm glad you said that, because going back to to Matt Wheeler, who invited me over to go roll back when I was doing CrossFit, that's exactly what he did. Like it was a slap bump, 12 seconds, tap to an armbar, 15 seconds, tap to a rear naked choke, then to a guillotine, and then he just started putting pressure on me. This guy's 130 pounds. Putting pressure on me that feels like the weight of the earth is on my chest.
Yeah, like fucking I know it, and it's all just leverage and technique, and I mean, and the crazy part is like most people would probably do what you did and see that kid and assume that like I got a fucking chance here, you know what I mean? And then like their day would be ruined if they decided to actually like follow through with.
Oh my God. Like I would hate to be an unskilled, untrained person and like pick a fight with Matt Wheeler.
Yeah. Yeah. Just have no fucking clue what you're getting into. Yeah. And
after that roll, I quit CrossFit and joined jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. And well, I think, like that's a good point too, is like, I think when a lot of people are trying to get in shape, they struggle with like, I think they set too many like short-term goals for themselves. And one of the reasons that I think jiu-jitsu is so effective, not just at like learning self-defense, but for your overall like health and, you know what I mean, staying fit, is because it really does become a lifestyle, and it's so fucking addicting.
Oh my God, you said it, man. So my approach when like people ask me about the weight loss and like how I did it and what started me and whatnot, like I knew I was a fat fuck when I looked at myself in the mirror, right? I knew I was a fat fuck when I stepped onto the scale, right?
Right.
Like that wasn't enough of a motivator.
Right. That's the weird part. Is like it never seems to be. You got to have something.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. So I found jiu-jitsu, but that's like the hardest part to relay to people. It's like you got to go find what you love.
Yeah.
You do
no
that.
Shit.
Do things. Things. You know.
Yeah.
So, and that's what happened. Like, my big ass gut was getting in the way. You know, I wasn't flexible enough. My fat was literally getting in the way of me advancing in jiu-jitsu. So
yeah, and like maneuvering, everything.
And then the community itself is it's just fucking awesome. It's a small community. Everybody's so willing to help you out. So you just start asking questions like, hey, what should I do? What should I eat? What, you know?
Yeah.
And like little by little, you lose 100 pounds.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. It's and you're still doing it is the thing. And it's been, how long have you been training for now? 5 or 6 years?
Yeah, it'll be 5 years in March.
Damn. Yeah, I'll be at 3, I believe. So, I mean, once you start, it's just so hard to stop. I mean, because it's every time you like learn something new, it's like, okay, you feel like you mastered it, and then you try it against like someone who's a little bit better than you, and you're like, oh fuck, dude, I might have been able to do this on like a couple white belts and blue belts, but now I'm like, then it becomes about like tightening everything up, right, and trying to. I mean,
like I've had this like recent, I wouldn't call it an epiphany, but like a realization that the more jiu-jitsu I know, like the more jiu-jitsu I need to know.
Yeah.
Learn like there's so much more out there, that the smallest minute details, like this shit's a game of like millimeters.
Yeah, you know? Not even inches. Like they always call football a game of inches, and it's like
here's an example when people are gonna say, oh, millimeters, blah, blah. You have to block a carotid artery. You have to shut that off.
Right.
That's a millimeter for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Like literal example right there. And the consequences, I mean, if you were the thing that I love the most about it is that it's real and it's applicable. Like there's nothing fake about it. Like the consequences for getting in, if you were ever in like an altercation where you had to defend yourself, I mean, the consequences can be grave. So coming out on top on those situations is I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fucking fun too. Like I just like to do it. But I mean, in the back of my head, it's like I like walking around knowing that like because I've found that most people who train won't fuck with you. So the only people we have to worry about are assholes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it is. It's cool to just like know that you have a plan, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like I know if someone comes and confronts me head on, right, and it's just me and him, like I'm gonna take him down past the either side controller right to mount, isolate an arm, try to or just sit there and mount and like just be like, what are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah, exactly.
Or isolate an arm, try to take him to the back and just sit there until the cops come or something. You know what I mean?
It just gives you the power to control a situation without like. And the thing that's dangerous about striking is like I've started kickboxing recently, and I think it's fun, but like you're always risking the chance that some motherfucker might just have a right hand and he pops you with it. But it's very hard for someone like on the ground who doesn't know what's going on to overcome like real technique. And
it's back to like the size thing. It is the greatest. The ground is the greatest equalizer.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
You can have a 5'3", 105-pound female going against a 6'3", 220-pound male.
Behemoth. Yeah.
Shit out of them.
Yeah, exactly. It's
that happens every single day.
Yeah, constantly. And like we have, I just started at Easton. I don't even know her name. I don't know if so our head instructor at the branch that I'm at is Ethan Snow. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it's his wife or if she's just an instructor there, but she's a black belt. And I was watching her demonstrate moves on people, and it's like, there's no room. There's no space anywhere. I'm like, what would you do if you were on the bottom of that? Like I was like trying to analyze, like it was just a basic position, like side control. And I was like, I don't even think I could fit frames anywhere to get the fuck out of there. So
yeah,
it's
the knowledge and understanding and how many times that she's been there.
Yeah, that's big too, right?
Oh, just like time experience. It's I've been working on a sequence for the past few months, and like every day I learn something new.
Yeah, and just like little things, right? Like little tweaks that'll like completely change. And then like you might be going in one direction, you're like, you've got this plan in your head, and then all of a sudden they'll do something and like a whole nother avenue opens up for you to start taking. And it's like, you were talking earlier about like it being this endless, like the more you know, the more you don't know. It's 100% true.
So true. So true. Just, and even the more knowledge I gain, like, so we had Gary Tonin.
I saw you guys had a seminar. How was that?
Dude, it's mind blowing.
Yeah. His knowledge of the game is so deep, so much deeper than, even a lot of high level instructors, I feel like, and he competes and applies it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. But he taught some ankle locks and toe holds. I actually had a private with him, me and three of my buddies, on this new passing. It's like kind of loose passing where you're posted up above, you're on top, posted on top of their shoulders or like above their shoulders on the mat, and your hips are high and your leg pummeling, and it's like a whole new system. It's really hard to deal with, and he's super good at it. And like you try to study it, but you can't really see pressure,
Right.
So he came in and like blew our minds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the hard thing to explain to people is like when you're watching fights on TV or like jiu-jitsu matches, whatever it might be, wrestling, I feel like it's so easy to like watch them and wonder why they're not doing things. But like when you're on the bottom and really feeling people on top, it's so hard to like, the only way to know what it feels like is to get smashed, to just do it.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, and
deal with it. And like, I know that's like cliche. You got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. But like, you just got to spend time down there and not panic. Like,
right.
It's got to suck, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how to get comfortable being like, that doesn't make sense to me. Right. It's going to suck. So embrace the suck is
probably the best way to put it, because if you don't, you're just going to constantly like,
you're going to panic.
Yeah. That's when people make mistakes.
Yeah. They make mistakes, or like even like, white belts coming up, they get panicky and then they tap.
Yeah.
It
I
breaks.
noticed that with a lot of people who especially like just start within the first couple weeks, and it's like it's almost like they're kind of going through the process, and it's like some gyms will try to weed that shit out, and like they'll be dicks and be like, you know what I mean? They'll try to like figure out who the, you know, the weakest link is, I guess. But
Yeah.
I mean, it, I feel like once most people start, it does become addicting, and you can get through it. It's just like it can be discouraging at times, but like you said, you just gotta kind of embrace it and take it on, and just realize that like if you stick with it, it really does get better
I
until you
think,
go up against like blue and purple belts and get smashed all over again. But
yeah,
by then you enjoy it.
yeah. And you learn something from it, right? When you're
Right.
painting, your mind is going, you know, fucking going a million miles an hour.
Right.
So you can't recall anything. You can't learn anything in those moments. So
Right.
yeah, it gets more fun being smashed.
Yeah.
How
I
long you endure. You know what? I think another thing with like just the jujitsu and the culture of it, you know, you get your ass beat every single day, right? And like think about the last time you rolled, or the last time you got your ass kicked. You took your L after that 5 minutes. You looked at your training partner that just whooped your ass, and you both got a big smile on your face. Slap, bump, good job. On to the next one. Like you
yeah,
get your
it's
ass kicked, but it's like such a warm and comforting.
yeah, there's like I mean, when you start getting in there and like those people with egos tend to get weeded out, I feel like, but there's none of that involved really when you're rolling with someone. I mean, everyone's there to like they just kind of have to help you by fucking you up. You know what I mean? Like that's just kind of the process.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
sure.
you got to go through it. So I mean, and I've never rolled with anyone and had any hard feelings afterwards. Any of the gyms that I've ever been at.
Right.
Like, I mean, I've had. Don't get me wrong. I've had people be like dickheads while we were rolling,
Oh,
but
sure.
you
Yeah,
know, again, they tend to be like less experienced and kind of like hot-headed.
yeah, yeah,
I
for
think
sure. They're like a new. We get new wrestlers in all the time.
that's the big one, right? It seems to be because like they think that they're because you can do things in jiu-jitsu that you can in wrestling.
Right.
Like from the back, especially. Like the back game is much more, and I think that throws them off a little bit when they come in.
Well, it's like they have a hard time dealing with someone with a good guard too.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah, 100%.
I like sweeping the shit out of the wrestlers too.
Yeah.
I hate getting off their base.
Yeah, because
One
that's
of
where
my
they live. That's where they've
yeah.
been for that however many years, probably since they were 8 years old. Five. I don't know how young kids start wrestling, but young,
Oh
most of them.
man, I think Oil City. Shout out to Oil City.
Yeah.
Uh, I think they've got like either a Y wrestling program or like a youth wrestling program that's starts out young, maybe 4, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that. So that stuff is drilled into them every day. And I mean, I'll give them. I mean, most of them have this like mentality that, I mean, if they can kind of get past, you know, if they can accept what jujitsu is, that it's something different, that they have to learn it. Most that mentality can normally excel them. I mean, your instructor, for example, is a perfect example of someone like that who can apply wrestling to. I mean, it's perfectly applicable once
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. It's awesome. So yeah, Warren, he wrestled at Lehigh. And then I forget which Gracie. Oh man, he's told me a story a million times.
There's so many Gracies too.
I want to say it was either Gregor or Igor or one of those Gracies. They were down in Brazil and um, needed wrestling practitioners to come down to train with them to teach them wrestling.
Right.
Right. So Warren and his buddy was like, okay,
Yeah.
see ya. It was right after college. They're like, we don't got shit to do, so we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got like firsthand from the Gracies
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu, and then his path has been awesome coming up through through the Henzer Gracie affiliation and under Sean Williams, he's a genius out in LA, 5-star martial arts. He's such a technical guru, has such depth and breadth of knowledge of jiu-jitsu. It's crazy. And like hearing him commentate, I forget, he used to do, when Metamoris was around, I think he did a Metamoris or two, but I think he'll commentate for Flow, maybe at like ADCC or Worlds or something like that. And it's great to listen to him because you can tell he's just such a good teacher and a practitioner and like still a student of the game.
Right, which is important, I think, because like you can never become complacent in it.
Yeah.
Or you pay for it. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's constantly going through these evolutions. Like right now, the leg lock game is, I mean, Matt, you got Down Our Death Squad, and I mean, guys like Gary Tonin who are also getting into MMA now. And I think Rafael Vato Jr. is another one for Bellator. I mean, you've got these high-level jiu-jitsu artists getting into MMA now that have been, I mean, competing at a world-class level. And I mean, you know what I mean?
You know, it would be interesting to see like how jiu-jitsu evolves and how MMA will evolve because of each other.
Right.
Now, because there's a lot of like new stuff. So this like this loose passing stuff it's blowing my mind. It's fantastic. It's applicable to MMA because dude's on his back, like probably in a butterfly guard, and
right.
you can leg pummel your way and kind of just balance there, and he's not going to be able to like throw punches at you, or you can eat punches from some dude that's on his back and his shoulders are pinned.
Yeah, exactly. There's gonna be nothing on him.
Yeah. And like, I mean, even the leg lock game, we saw Ryan Hall hit an Imanari roll.
Fucking nasty.
Yeah, an Imanari roll into a gruesome inside heel hook.
Oh my God. And here, like, people have to understand, I mean, granted, he's old, but like, jiu-jitsu tends to be one of those things that you can do into old age, and BJ Penn is a wizard on the ground. Like, it just speaks testament to how fucking good Ryan Hall's jiu-jitsu is.
So true. I don't know how BJ trains, what his current jiu-jitsu is like, but like
what's his motivation like? Yeah,
it's like new school, and old school jiu-jitsu completely disregarded the legs.
Yeah, exactly. It did, because it was frowned upon. Yeah. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Which is crazy when you think about it, because I mean,
and then Danaher talks about it all the time. Dean Lister came and trained with him and was showing leg locks. And I think John asked, why do you do something? Why are you so in love with leg locks? Or, some question along those lines. And Lister's like, why would you ignore 50% of the body?
Right. And that just seems to make sense.
That started,
Yeah. And now, I mean, look what he's turned it into. Because I think you and I have talked about how like it's nice to be at gyms where we have systems because we're like mechanically minded. You want to talk about like a mechanical fucking system. Danaher has like a system.
For sure. And like that, his leg lock system isn't even his best system.
Right. Have you seen his back attacks?
Yeah, I have it.
Nasty. So I mean, everything he does is, but
I use his gift wrap to back control all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. I need to get his Gamora, and actually his triangle DVD. Fuck it. I just need to get them all.
Yeah.
I'm that dude.
Yeah, man. Why not? Right? I mean, why not take it all in?
So I was looking at Nicky Ryan's Instagram the other day, and he had some sick sequence that he hit, and it's like a transition between an armbar and a triangle that was a triangle from the back. It was nuts. It was a crazy transition. And even Warren says like Danaher's one of his best, areas of expertise is a triangle. So I think that's the next series I need to get.
Yeah, man. Because I mean, I don't know. We're kind of like stockier built. Like I don't have those long ass fucking limbs, so locking those things up is like, for me, it's hell. I mean, I almost never finish. I'll get an armbar if someone breaks out of it sometimes, but I almost never get the triangle. So I think it's one of the more complicated. Like, there's so much like technique and things that you have to understand to actually, especially if someone's pouring pressure into you.
Big time. And
it's so hard to deal with that.
how to spin out of that, how to find angles. I mean, it's
Angles, yes.
all angles, you know.
Yeah. And like I'll end up working too hard. I'll get like caught up in all the steps of the triangle. Like instead of going through it one at a time and like progressing things down, I always end up trying to do like too many things at once, and then that's when I fuck up. I don't secure position first, and then it's not just that they pass; it's that it's almost immediately into side control, and I'm back to I got to work my way back up. So it's like
you'll figure it out, man.
Yeah, I keep going for it because I want to be able to do it, but I mean, I've gotten smashed many a time because of lack of technique. I mean, it's hard. I feel like for me, it's the hardest submission to like lock up and master. Not that I've mastered anything at all, but I mean,
certainly one of the hardest, and especially for like shorter, stockier, you know, like legs. Yeah, man.
I mean, we just brought him up. I guess Ryan Hall is supposed to have, my instructor at Clarion when I was there told me that Ryan Hall has like a sequence on triangles that'll completely change how you think about them. So, and he's got some videos on YouTube. I don't know. He might have a system that he sells on like a website or something.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple of his videos, and on the triangle, and that's one of the areas that he focuses on is the angle.
Yeah, he's another one who's like all about technique. Like he's a technician.
Oh man, yeah. Talk about engineering mind.
Yeah, just a fucking bit.
Right.
Do you ever watch Keenan Cornelius? Any of his stuff? Yeah. I like his shit because it's like a lot of the stuff that he shows it's not overly complicated, at least the stuff I've seen on YouTube, and it's applicable like right now, and it works. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that guy. I just discovered him probably like 3 or 4 months ago, and I've gone down so many rabbit holes just watching videos of him.
Keenan online.
Yeah.
Shit is awesome. Again, talk about a technician, and like an entrepreneur in
yeah, he's young too, man. I don't know. He's got to be like under 30. I feel like.
I think he is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he is. But even like his creativity and coming up with like worm guard and you know.
Yeah. My instructor at Richmond was a big fan of worm guard.
Yeah.
It
sucks to deal with.
Yeah. It's because it's new, right? Like like relatively, like people then pretty soon people figure out how to counter and it won't die, but you have to find new entries for it, and like that's the crazy. Go ahead.
It's funny that he dropped a bomb here not too long ago saying Baron Bull has been dead for 2 years, which is hilarious because it's right.
Right.
It's pretty easy to stop once you know what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
It's funny. And what I like about his shit is like he'll put out videos, say on the worm guard offensively, and then how to deal with the worm guard too.
Yeah, which is not, he doesn't just show you his offense, he gives you a counter to it as well, which I mean, I think a lot of schools don't focus on this enough. I think when you're drilling, the other person should be, even if they're not directly drilling, I understand that you want to be able to like complete the submission sequence and let the person drill, but the person who's being submitted should be aware at least of what the counters are and like give a little resistance. You know what I mean? It shouldn't just be all offensive every time.
No, 100%. You know, the best training partners are the ones that give you the best reactions, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And you will find those, that do that.
Right. Yeah. But just kind of.
And you'll become one too.
Right.
Already. So.
I think that's part of the thing. It's probably that I'm still a wipeout, so I'm in like more fundamentals classes still. You know what I mean? Like working up through intermediate and stuff. So I see like. I'm sure as you get a little bit better, like they're giving you a little more looks and stuff like that. Yeah. So
you're a wipeout because you changed schools 7 times.
I know. Yeah, I started in Clarity and then ended up in
your flag somewhere.
Yeah, it's. I feel like I've been doing it for 3 years, and I think I've been to 3 or 4 different gyms now.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it feels good to. I think we're going to be in Denver for a while, so hopefully it settles down.
Yeah.
What were you going to say though?
And just think about that. I mean, typically gyms will, make you show your worth, and that's a period of time, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to get into class a little more too, but I picked up kickboxing, and it's like, I'll wake up like full of piss and vinegar on Monday morning, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to kickboxing. And like, then Tuesday, I'm going to hit jiu-jitsu twice. And then I'll get a kickboxing, wake up Tuesday morning, and my body's just like fucking wrecked. I'm
Right.
like sore in places I didn't even know I was sore. And I was like, so I've been easing my way back into jiu-jitsu, but I'd like to pick it up and get going back a little more regularly.
And we were talking earlier, man. I love Muay Thai in that, it's such a cool art, all the history behind it. Actually, there's a pretty cool documentary on Netflix. It's on Letway. Do you know what Letway is?
Oh, are you talking about
And it's fucking Muay Thai with headbutts.
yeah, who's that motherfucker? Frank something? Fight World? Is that what are you talking about Fight World?
Fight World, yeah.
Yes, I watch it.
Yeah.
It's insane, man. Yes.
My God. It's absolutely insane. But going back to it, I mean, like, striking is fun and boxing is a sweet science. So it's fun to throw hands and learn how to kick, bringing it back to kickboxing, how to throw knees, how to fucking drill your shin into somebody, that's
Right.
so much fun. And the cardiovascular workout that you get translates to jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, 100%.
It's one of the few things that I've found that actually translates, that'll like help you out on the mat.
I think it's because you're constantly engaging your core, like everything you do, and you're twisting at the hips, which hips are big in jiu-jitsu and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think you work a lot of different muscles, but a lot of the same ones too, and just like the cardio as well. You know what I mean? Like that's something I'm still getting used to. Like I thought I was like in decent jiu-jitsu shape, but like kickboxing shape, man, I'm not even a minute into hitting the heavy bag. I'm like, holy fuck, like sucking wind.
Dude, for sure, man. I remember when I first started it, like we go 3 2-minute rounds with a minute of rest in between. And like the first minute and a half, I was crouched over, my gloves between my knees, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Like,
it's
exhausting.
I still got 2 more of these to go.
Yeah, and then you got this weight on your hands, and like those 12 ounces or 16, whatever the fuck you're wearing, they just start to feel like lead, and your hands start dropping, and
shoulders tired.
Yeah, everything, man. It's crazy.
After that hump though,
yeah,
so fucking good.
Yeah. I'm trying to stick with it, and I'm trying to, like I said, get into jiu-jitsu a little more too. So we'll see. But fuck, man, we just did 40 minutes.
Man,
so, yeah.
Fun. That's awesome.
Yeah, just a bit. So I'll let you go. It's what time? 10:15 over there, I guess, right?
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We got 6 a.m. jiu-jitsu tomorrow too.
Damn, man. Yeah, I'll let you go and get some sleep then.
All right. Hey, thanks. This was fun.
Yeah, man. We'll do it again too. Like I said, I've got Scott Holtzman coming on, I think on the 30th, and then Jay on the 6th, and I'll have you on sometime shortly after. We'll so bullshit cool. Again.
Fuck yeah.
Because you started teaching and stuff too, right? Like kids programs?
Yeah, kids programs. And I teach adult classes too. But kids, that's
because we'll have to dig into that a little bit next time and get because you've gone through the student side, now you're kind of transitioning over to the teacher side. So
yeah. It's fun. It's a cool transition. My jiu-jitsu's gotten so much better since being an instructor. Yeah,
because you're forced to, your technique's under constant scrutiny by people watching you, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're forced to break it down too.
Yeah, and be aware of everything. So that's awesome, man.
Yeah. So we'll chat again, man. I appreciate that. This was fun.
Yeah. All right, man. Sounds good.
All right. Good night, bud.
All right. Night, man. Later. Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the podcast. It was a lot of fucking fun. Tanner's well-educated. He's very committed to jiu-jitsu. And he's just an all-around interesting guy. I mean, we kicked the podcast off. He's going to Nepal for 4 fucking weeks, right? I mean, it's always interesting picking someone else's brain on the topic because so many people view jiu-jitsu in so many different lights, right? And it's also interesting getting to talk to someone who's gone through. I mean, generally, right? Like when you're a white belt, you take your lumps. You're getting your ass beat all the time. And it's refreshing talking to someone who's gone through that because I'm still going through it. And he's kind of in purple belt. And not that he doesn't still get his ass kicked. I mean, everyone gets owned in jiu-jitsu. If you're the best person in the room doing anything, you're probably in the wrong fucking room, right? But I mean, it's interesting getting to talk to someone who's gone through some of the same things that I have. And it's good for people to listen to who are just getting into it because, I mean, he's a testament to real progress, right? I mean, he weighed 282 pounds. He was at a CrossFit gym. It wasn't working for him. Got into jiu-jitsu, and his whole entire life has changed around. And now he's instructing these kids classes and some adult classes now. And I mean, it really changes people's life. It changes the entire way that you operate. It changes the way that it changes the way that you treat people, the way that you think about things. Great all around. I mean, if any of you were on the fence about getting into jiu-jitsu or anything at all, anything that you've ever been passionate about pursuing and have just, for whatever reason, never done, I hope this podcast can kind of act as an inspiration to just do it. Just start something, right? Just fucking get into something that you care about, and usually the momentum will pick up and carry you through it. Just commit the time to it. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I look forward to talking to him again. We're gonna have Scott Holtzman on the podcast on January 30th. I'll probably get it posted the next day on the 31st because we're recording that kind of late at night as well. And then on February 6th, we're gonna have Jay Cuccinello on as well. And he was an Ultimate Fighter contender, fought Brad Katona in the championship, and came up short, but had an impressive win over Tyler Diamond in the house. Big upset. Tyler Diamond was the favorite to win the whole entire tournament, and Jay, just to be completely honest, just out-hearted him, if that's a fucking word, right? But thank you guys again for tuning in. Check us out on Instagram at Mixed Martial Analysis. Tanner's on Instagram at, I believe, Tanner Hall BJJ. Like I said, he trains at Stout in Pittsburgh. And yeah, keep tuning in. Subscribe, like, comment, dislike. You guys are adults. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. But also, feedback, always appreciated. I can accept some constructive criticism, right? Like, I know there are some things to smooth out in this podcast. But if you guys notice anything in particular, please let me know. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.